Assalamu alaikum. Dear brothers and sisters, our today's video is neither Abbasids nor Umayyads change the Qibla, as Dan Gibson claims. Dear viewer, it is well known to everybody that the feud between the Abbasid and the Umayyad was for the caliphate, not for the Qibla. It was not a battle of religion. Both the dynasties followed the same prophet, the same Quran, and therefore the same Qibla. Both the dynasties belong to the same religious sect, that is Sunni or Sunnites. Even the Shias follow the same prophet, the same Quran, and the same Qibla. There was no reason for any split in the Qibla direction, and no historian ever said of such split. It is only Dan Gibson who claims such oddity. Dan Gibson has failed to understand the Muslim mind and character. The Muslims may fight with one another for any worldly affairs, but they are one and the same in religious affairs. They stand in the same line, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, facing towards the same Qibla when it is time for the prayer. The people who fought at Karbala against Hazrat Hussein anhu stopped fighting when the time was for the Asr prayer. Then many of them stood behind him in a line to perform the Asr prayer, and he led the prayer as their Imam. Many of them changed the side to fight, but again the others stood against him, vi-a-vis to fight after the prayer was finished. And that was the last prayer of his life. This incident of testimony may astound anybody from among the non-Muslims, but it really happened. No, Islamic history and culture is not so easy for an unbeliever, for a non-Muslim. So, what Dan Gibson and J. Smith utter against the Qibla in Mecca is totally wrong and unfounded. They cannot establish their mistaken ideas about the Qibla or the Qibla direction on the ground of the feud between the Abbasid and the Umayyad. Their attempt is wrong because the feud between these two dynasties was on the caliphate, not on the Qibla. I repeat, the feud was on the caliphate, not on the Qibla. Dan Gibson claims himself as a historian. We don't have anything to say to hurt his sense and sentiment of self-esteem. But it is our civil right to say that he has chosen a very wrong field for his study. Islam is alien to him and he is alien to Islam. Before attempting to change the existing history, he should have understood it first, especially the relation between the caliph and his people. The Muslim caliphs were not the kings, and the Muslims were not his subjects. Caliphs could not do anything or whatever they liked. The first and foremost thing for them was to follow the Quran and the Sunnah strictly, very strictly. They had to follow the Islamic tenets, otherwise the people would not spare them. If any caliph would ever declare to change the Qibla direction, he would not have enough time to finish his declaration. His head would have to roll on the same spot on which he stood or sat to pronounce his decision. Not even his bodyguards would spare him. His wife and children would stand against him. And nobody would stand for his funeral prayer, and his dead body would not be put into any grave. If any such attempt were there, then another chapter of tragedy would have certainly included in the history of Islam. I know the non-Muslims' inability to understand what I say, but it is true. Even today, when the Muslims lack their faith and courage in many respects, nobody from the Muslim world will ever dare to do such a wrong thing. And if anybody becomes foolish enough to do it, the consequences will not be palatable for him at all. Anyway, we want to reiterate that the Qibla direction was fixed towards the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca by Allah during the lifetime of the Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that was once for all. Please see the verses 142 to 145 of the Surah Al-Baqarah. Both the Abbasids and the Umayyads were the strict followers of the Quran. They never violated any Quranic ayat. So, neither between-mosques nor between-mosques ever existed. Dan Gibson has misunderstood the whole thing. He has failed to understand the unintentional deviations made by the builders. Compass has betrayed him. He should have known that the Muslims used to fix the Qibla direction by the position of the sun, not by compass, nor by the constellations of the night sky. The builders worked by day, not by night, and as the positions of the sun varied in different seasons, so the direction of the Qibla varied for different mosques. These slight variations are allowed in Islam, as the intention was not varied. Allah is merciful and forgiving. Any unintentional mistakes or deviations are overlooked in Islam. It is the duty of the living Muslims to rectify the past mistakes, if there be any, by refixing the exact direction of the Qibla for the mosques, if the claimed deviations are found real. Those mosques should carefully be examined by the Muslims before doing so. After all, we must not believe in their claims without scrutiny, as it is their custom to falsify everything of Islam. Dear viewers, please click the like button, share the video, and subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching it. Allah Hafiz.